with dancing dolls and hilarious comedy bits. It's great for date night, birthdays, anniversaries, retirements, bachelorette parties, corporate parties, any kind of party. You'll have a bang-up time. So come join me and my gang of mugs and dolls at Vito's Vault. For tickets, go to vitosvault.com.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
Salem Surround. Is your business hard to find online? Meet with a digital marketer today for ideas that will make your business stand out. Visit salemsurround.com. This hourly segment is brought to you by Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn. Tune in Sunday mornings from 11 to 12 for Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn, sponsored by Kuhn Capital Partners in Oak Brook.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson.
Good Monday morning. 2 murders in Chicago. Both could have been prevented that are making national news. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, Jeanne Ives. This is The Real Story, and we have a lot to get to today, including airports on ice, if you know what I mean. See what I did there? And breaking news with President Trump postponing those military strikes on Iranian power plants. But we're going to start with the murder, the preventable murder of not only firefighter Michael Altman, but 18-year-old Sheridan Gorman. She was fatally shot, as we discussed here Thursday morning, while walking on the beach with her friends. The little student was looking at the northern lights when a masked man fired one shot. It turns out, though, Jeannie, as you know, he is illegal. He is from Venezuela, and he should have never have been allowed in this country in the first place.
Well, it's not the last time that this is going to happen, and until we get rid of the sanctuary policies and start to cooperate ICE, people can expect more of the same. Unfortunately, J.B. Pritzker has yet to say anything about the murder. I follow his ex. I look at his posts, and he's basically posted about film credits and helping the trans community and making this today? The best nation to live in. Yeah. And anything but this horrific murder that happened in cold blood.
It's today he's in San Francisco, Jeannie, with Hillary Clinton. Are you ready for this? They're at a Common Sense Summit on kids and families, because we really need the Democrats to tell us how to raise our kids.
He had time. Yeah, he had time to go up to Minneapolis though, and post flowers when Preddy was killed by ICE agents, and when whatever her name was, Renee Good. He had time to do that. He has yet to say anything about this horrific killing.
And she was a lovely girl. Her friends miss her so much. And her father, ironically, is a captain with the New York Fire Department and a former union president there. But her friends were just distraught because, remember, this guy, Jose Medina, and that's probably the last time we'll say his name, he was caught and released at the border by the Biden administration in May of 2023. And then he was arrested for shoplifting, and a Cook County judge let him go. He was arrested in June of 2023, and he's been AOL from a court case since that time. So he lived in a migrant shelter at Leon Beach Park, just north of Loyola Beach, where the murder occurred. But again, her friends just are having a hard time processing this because they didn't expect this to happen in college.
She was in one of my classes. She sat right in front of me. She was really sweet. And it just makes me really sad because with everything that's going on, it does make you wonder, how safe can you be at night? You come here for an education. Gun violence should not be something that you should be worried about, or if you should not be worried about walking to the beach and not expect to just get killed like that.
Well, Amy, this brings up a really good point that people need to bring home. Laken Riley, when she was killed by Jose Ibarro, the perpetrator, they passed the Laken Riley Act. And they did this because Jose Antonio Ibarro had previously been arrested for theft and other offenses, but was released before immigration authorities could detain him. And so this is the incident that sparked significant public and political outcry. And this is why this act was introduced, the Laken-Riley Act. That's why it was introduced in these situations, exactly like we have with this perpetrator, Medina. He also, again, caught with shoplifting. Of course, it was in 2023. And then he failed to show up for court, failed to show up for court again. They put out a warrant for his arrest, and honestly, zero follow-up on that. Nobody went to go look for him at all. Yeah. I mean, it's just remarkable. You have a warrant for an arrest. You're able to find this guy after he commits murder. You could not find him beforehand. You couldn't figure out where he was living. What's going on with this? I thought we spent millions of dollars for these, the immigrant coalitions to help these immigrants. They had no track of him either. He never showed up for anything. Do you have a job? What was he doing? How did he get paid? How did he get to live? How did he find the money to get a gun? Did somebody give it to him? Who gave it to him? There's so many unanswered questions here, and yet they never followed up. The police never followed up. He had a warrant, an arrest warrant on him. Nobody followed up. Shouldn't have been here anyway, but then multiple failures here, from Biden's open borders to sanctuary policy in Illinois to the Safety Act that released him to police that are under stress and understaffed who did not go out and actually arrest him on the warrant. Multiple failures here. And the voters are to blame, honestly. They put these politicians in charge. That's how I feel about it.
I know. I'm just sick to my stomach. And we're going to have more on this, too, because we also have to talk about the firefighter who died because the person who has been charged with murder and arson, he was out on pretrial release. He's been arrested 4 times since July. So we'll get to that. But there's some other breaking news. We have President Trump posted this morning about postponing the military strikes on Iranian power plants for 5 days. And he says that they're having productive talks right now. So with that, we want to welcome our next guest, Jeannie.
Is he on the line yet? Okay, he's here. Okay, honestly, I didn't see. He wasn't on the. Okay, we do welcome the Consul General of Israel to the Midwest. This is Elad Strohmeyer. He has been based in Chicago now for a few years, so he's familiar with what's been happening. And we're so happy to have you here because it's been a pretty monumental time that you've been in office in Chicago, from the Hamas, the killing of Hamas on October 7th, all the way through now this Iranian conflict. So just give us your initial impressions of what President Trump is doing and how this impacts your work here in Chicago.
Hi, Jean. Good to be with you. So just a small correction. I'm here 6 months only.
Oh, 6 months.
I'm relatively new, but it's still monumental time because every time apparently is monumental time to be here. And to your question about the statement and what President Trump is doing, I think what we've seen is that the military campaign that Israel and the United States have engaged in the last few weeks has been proven to be the right thing and successful because there are cracks in Iran. They're concerned and they're afraid of that military campaign. They see that President Trump means business and he's not a paper tiger. When he makes a threat, he follows that threat. And this is now maybe, and I say it with a big maybe, they're willing to make a compromise. I'm saying maybe because I don't believe a word that this regime is saying, and they have lied to the United States before. But we will be the first to support our goal, which is to eliminate their nuclear program, their ballistic missiles program, and their support of terrorist organizations in the Middle East.
So it's been pretty controversial, I have to admit. The past week, the director of National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kemp, publicly resigned from his position, making a shocking allegation that claiming that Iran was not an imminent threat. He then went on to accuse Israel of manufacturing the prior war with ISIS and drag Trump into the Iran war against his will. I don't believe any of that. I know you don't either. But then we have this, and I want to ask you, how good, you are known, your country is known for impeccable intelligence. And then we find out that Iran launched 2 intermediate range ballistic missiles toward the joint U.S.-UK military base in Diego Garcia on or around March 20th in the ongoing Iran-U.S.-Israel conflict. Neither missile hit the target. One failed in flight. The other was intercepted by a U.S. warship. Iran framed the attempt as a demonstration of longer-range capability. It's literally double what anybody thought that they could hit. So it's a 4,000-kilometer range instead of a 2,000-kilometer limit range. And so actually, yeah, Iran was a threat.
Exactly. Iran was and is an imminent threat. And I want to say with all due respect, but I have no respect to the counterterrorism director who resigned, Kent. His statements were anti-Semitic statements. That's what he said, and it's totally lies and fabricated. Our intelligence is very, very close shared, and we see eye to eye on the target and on the goals. And someone who thinks that President Trump can be dragged into a war, it's a person who has zero respect towards the president. The president is a leader. He's not being dragged or anything. We showed the president our intelligence alongside with your intelligence, and that's when he came to the realization that this needs to be done. And like you said, the Diego Garcia attack, that's what Israel said all along. Iran has pursued nuclear capabilities and ballistic missiles capabilities. They have lied to the international community again and again about what they're trying to achieve and how they're achieving that. And the launch of the missiles at Diego Garcia base is a proof that if they have the entire intercontinental ballistic missiles that can get all the way to here to Chicago, they would have fired at, because they're fired at Europe, they're fired at Cyprus, at Turkey, at the Middle East, at Azerbaijan. Of course they would use that against Europe. And imagine if it was a nuclear warhead on that missile.
No, it's scary times. Amy?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So President Trump said that he postponed those military strikes on the Iranian power plants because there's productive talks going on. But the Iranian officials, of course, deny that. What do you know? What is your intelligence telling you?
So I cannot share things right now from intelligence. I would just say that it's not a surprise that Iran. It's not a surprise that Iran is denying that. They're playing with several voices there. They're echoing several voices right now. I think it's also an example of their chaos and the cracks within the regime, because we've hit them, and we've hit them very hard, the United States and Israel, and that's what led them to the position that now they're begging for a diplomatic solution, when they were before the United States gave them many generous offers and they said no. They fooled the United States, and now that they're in dire straits, they're begging for negotiations. So of course they're denying that because they still want to keep their pride. But I have full confidence that the president will lead us to the right place for an end of this Iranian threat. And I would say another thing. Israel and the United States started this together. We're fighting it together, and we will end it together. And we have full confidence with our alliance with the United States.
Consul General, I just wanted to play this Victor Davis Hanson clip and get your response to it.
There's enough evidence to see how things are really going. Europeans would never agree to go anywhere near Iran unless they thought the tide was turning and they think that we're going to win. Otherwise, they would keep still. And the reason that the petro nations of the Gulf survive is they have their finger in the wind, and they're very attuned to the climate. And when you have Al Jazeera praising the United States bombing campaign and saying that it's been underestimated and it's brilliant and effective, you get the feeling that they think not only should the United States finish the job, but it can and will finish the job. And then when you start to see tactical aircraft like Warthogs and Apaches, that means that they're offering almost ground and sea support to hit targets. There's nothing, there's no defense at all when you have that type of aircraft flying at will in Iranian airspace. So you put it all together, and I think it's pretty clear that this rope-a-dope strategy that they have, that we're going to tire before they are, is dependent on just public opinion, the midterms in the United States. And if Trump sees it through, and I think he will, I think they're going to fall pretty soon, in 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I think they know it, and I think the Europeans know it, and I think the Middle East knows it, and their only hope, the Iranians' only hope, is that somebody will call Donald Trump off before the job is finished.
So what say you?
I think that first and foremost, and we said it from the start, our main goal is to eliminate the threat. Like I said, the nuclear threat, the ballistic missiles, and support of terrorism. We came to an understanding that as long as this regime stays the way it is, the threat won't be eliminated. We can degrade them, and then they will keep building back. And then we have two options. Either the regime change its ways. I'll be honest, I'm not sure that that's feasible, that the regime change its ways, or that this regime will collapse and the people in Iran will go to the streets and choose a better leadership for themselves. We're not going to do that for them. We're right now working to degrade the regime, to make it weak so that they cannot threaten us. And if, as a result, people will go and change that, that will be another positive outcome, and we're all in agreement about that. What we're seeing right now, Iran, the regime, is very concerned. It's weak. It's weakened because we have degraded their abilities. We attacked more than 700 targets that are part of their ballistic missiles program. We took out of commission at least 70%, if not more, from their launchers. More than 250 drones have been attacked. We de facto control their airspace with more than 80% of their air defense system has been attacked. And I'm not even talking about the regime targets that have been targeted, not just people that were taken down, but many regime targets to really weaken this regime. Everything is going on goal, and eventually there's going to be a solution. You know, every war ends with a diplomatic agreement. That's always how it goes. Mm-hmm. And we're going to finish the job and make sure that Iran won't pose a threat to the United States and Israel.
Well, how much longer do you think this conflict is going to last?
You know, I don't want to give you an estimate. I know that this is the question. You know, my family asked me that question as well because they sit in bomb shelters all the time and they want to know. So I don't want to give an estimate because first, I don't want to reveal to the Iranians what we're planning and how much breath we have. And second, we will do whatever it takes in order to finish it. We hope it won't be long. We all want it to be over very quickly. We're all in agreement that war is not a good thing, and we wanted to get it over with. But with that being said, and I think this is what the president said right now, he's giving them 5 days. And if they're fooling him in these 5 days afterwards, we will continue with that. So we have the determination and the resilience to go on a long campaign if needed, with the hope that it will be short and more countries will join in and this regime will collapse so that people can have faith in their own hands and this regime no longer will be able to threaten us.
Well, I haven't checked the betting markets, but, you know, they usually have the solution or they know the time frame, right? I am just joking.
Maybe I should go. Maybe I should go gamble as well. Maybe I should go to the market as well.
Yeah, I have a serious question though for you. Actually, you know, after the Hamas literally tortured and captured and killed family members, you had a lot of pro-Palestinian protests here. You had the takeover of universities, Northwestern most prominently, but actually it was just everywhere. You had school children at the behest of their teachers walking out of school for pro-Palestinian issues. And then as soon as this war or this conflict started, you had Hands Off Iran protests in the city of Chicago. Aren't you a little bit shocked by this? I'm still shocked by that. And do you find the anti-Semitism here is growing? And are we worse here than in other parts of the world outside of the Mideast?
You know, anti-Semitism has increased in alarming way. I don't have the 2026 figures, but I have the 2025. 58% increase of anti-Jewish hate crimes, and we've seen really it's horrible when you look at what's happening and the rhetoric that is being used against Jews and Jew hatred. Just last week in Detroit, I went actually to support the community over there. And to your question about the protest, you know, I'm surprised, no, because people don't let facts confuse them. Am I disgusted? Yes, I am disgusted by that, because people knew how to go to the streets immediately on October 7th, when we didn't have a single Israeli airstrike or a single Israeli soldier in Gaza. We're still fighting for our lives when Hamas terrorists invaded us on October 7th, on the same day when some of the hostages were not even kidnapped yet. They were still in their houses waiting to be kidnapped. They were already protests around the United States and around the world blaming Israel for genocide. And where were all these protesters just a month ago when the Iranian people fought for their life and the regime slaughtered at least 30,000 people? There are some estimates that talk about 50,000. I'm giving you the conservative estimate of 30,000. All these people were quiet. So that's a double standard here. And that shows me that there are much stronger malign foreign forces behind it. We know today that many of the encampments in universities and many of the demonstrations were were manufactured thanks to Qatari money and foreign involvement that they supported these protesters. So, yeah, I'm disgusted by it. Don't want to say that I'm surprised because I'm not, because anti-Semitism is on the rise. But eventually, when we're going to win, and this regime will be weakened and eliminated, we will see a change in the Middle East for the better, and that maybe will also turn the tide a little bit on how people look at the Middle East.
Do you think that these protesters are getting paid, though? Because it's the same group of people that the week before they had no ICE and they were protesting ICE and inserting themselves physically in arrests. And it's the same group. Then a week later, different color signs was saying hands off Iran. So do you think they're getting paid?
I think some of them are. I don't have proof, so I don't want to. I think some of the protesters are getting paid. Some of the protesters are being manipulated by people. I think there are many protesters that don't know much of the facts, so they're maybe even their intentions are well, but they're just being manipulated by others because the organizers, and we know that from the encampments, that they came with tents and supplies that were identical. How all of a sudden within a day you had hundreds of tents that all look the same on a truck coming to help them? Of course someone funded that. Of course someone wanted it to happen. And then regular people who are just curious, or maybe they have legitimate concern. I'm not saying we're perfect. We might make mistakes. We might make mistakes as well. But they join in. But the cause behind it, these are people who are doing that, instigating the unrest among ourselves. They're doing that on purpose. They want to weaken your democracy and our democracy.
Well, he's the Consul General of Israel to the Midwest. We thank him so much for joining us on The Real Story. Elad Strohmeyer, have a great day, and I hope you come back to give us another update soon.
I'll be happy to. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Yep, and he joined us on AM 560, The Answer.
Subscribe to the Real Story podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at 560theanswer.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
It's tax season, and by now, I know you're a bit tired of the numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud. Not all grim news. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats that you could easily miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to fix it. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK, 1-800-LifeLock or lifelock.com. Terms to apply.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check GoodRx for an easier, more affordable way to manage your health. GoodRx offers common heart medications for under $30. Just search for your prescription, find the best price, then show your pharmacist the GoodRx coupon. And it works whether you have insurance or not. To start saving and better manage your heart health, download the free app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
When someone you love is living with memory loss, finding the right care isn't just important, it's everything. At Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace, memory care isn't an add-on, it's all we do.
When Mom moved into Terra Vista, everything changed. She's safe, engaged, and surrounded by people who truly understand dementia. And I finally get to just be her daughter again.
Terra Vista was built specifically for caring for those with Alzheimer's and other types of dementia, with secure indoor and outdoor spaces, innovative therapies, and a community that feels like home. Residents stay active, connected, and respected every single day.
And the best part? Mom can live with dignity, and I have peace of mind.
If memory care is in your future, choose the community designed for it. Choose Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace. Schedule a tour today at terravista.org. Again, that's terravista.org, and tell them AM 560 sent you. Terra Vista, where memory care lives.
And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
Iran has denied any direct negotiations with the U.S. and threatened to retaliate for any strikes on its energy infrastructure. LaGuardia Airport in New York is closed until at least 2 p.m. after an Air Canada plane hit a fire truck on the tarmac, killing 2 pilots.
We stopped really quickly, and then in about 2 seconds later, we just had an absolute, slam. Everybody was flying everywhere. I mean, the plane started veering off left and right.
Now, at other airports, ICE agents have been called in to help deal with long TSA lines as TSA workers continue to work without pay during the partial government shutdown. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will bring mostly sunny skies with chilly conditions reaching a high of 44. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 31. Tomorrow will feature a mix of clouds and sunshine with a high of 52. By Wednesday, temperatures will rise, offering a blend of sun and clouds and a high of 65. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Raj Shah, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
You know, there are a lot of clients and people coming in from the radio into our office and saying, I don't want to lose any money. I need to protect the money I have saved over the last 20 or 30 years, where you have strategies where you can structure an income stream where it has an inflation protection so that as inflation, if it continues to go up, your income will go up.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
And now it's time for the Cat's Corner.
We need more common sense in Washington. Running a country is like running a business. Well, our current president, President Trump, knows how to run a business, and guess what? He's running a country like that. He makes common sense decisions. If we're going to send money to the Ukraine to help them, why not have the mineral rights? Why not have the oil rights on some of the other countries? Let's have common sense. We want our country, the United States of America, to be number one. Last week, criticized Iran for attacking its neighbors because some of their neighbors are also China's partners. But what President Trump, as a businessman, has done is unify the Arab world, unify Europe. Finally, no major war in the future. Let's have common sense and have common sense prevail. I'm John Katzmatidis, and that's your Cat's Corner.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It's tax season, and by now, I know you're a bit tired of the numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud. Not all grim news. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats that you could easily miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to fix it. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK, 1-800-LifeLock or lifelock.com. Terms to apply.
What's the password? Is this Vito's Vault, where I can get a 5-star dinner and signature cocktails, see an amazing vaudeville-style musical comedy show with the gangsters and the flappers, all for one low price?
Yeah? What's the password?
I don't know, but I'm here to make a deposit.
Well, why didn't you say so? Come on in.
Vito's Vault, Chicago's new Roaring 20s dinner theater speakeasy. For tickets, go to vitosvault.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. We're back to our local stories, which are making national headlines. Before we go back to Gorman, we really need to talk just quickly about the murder of Chicago firefighter Michael Altman. The guy, his name is Shave Slate, 27, again, been arrested 4 times since July, on probation, on pretrial release, Jeannie, and he missed his January 16th hearing. He was squatting in a house in Rogers Park. He got mad at other squatters, so he set his mattress on fire. And firefighter Altman, who's the 4th-generation firefighter, he was on the first floor, and the floor collapsed into a basement that was completely engulfed in flames. He has a child. He has a baby on the way. Preventable crime, and I don't know where the anger is on this, but at least Susana Mendoza, for some reason, was at his hearing, or the court hearing on Saturday.
She's such a faker. Like a very decent person.
It didn't have to happen because a guy who is a repeat criminal offender comes in and out of this system as, you know, we dole out this forgiveness as if it were Pez candy.
I mean, she's part of the problem. She is a Democrat that is supporting these policies, and she goes to these hearings and complains, but it's like, do something, woman. I don't know if it frustrates you as much as it frustrates me.
Well, you know what? Until the voters decide to vote these people out of office, it's going to continue. It just is. And so I blame the voters at the end of the day. They're the ones.
Yeah. Well, I talked to the Chicago Firefighter Union president.
Oh, my gosh. He voted for all these Democrats. He voted for Susana Mendoza. Trust me, he did.
Okay, Patrick Cleary. And I like, where's the outrage? And I said, because he was going to come on the show. So I always pre-interview people, you know, just to make sure, you know, well, this is what we're going to be talking about because nobody likes any surprises. I said, well, we could talk about Altman, 4th-generation firefighter. He's like, yeah, I mean, he's been on the force 2 years. So I said, well, don't you know anything about him? And he's like, no, I mean, I guess I could talk. And he's at the court hearing today to support the family members because there was a continuance. So they're back in court today. But then I said, well, aren't you mad? Like, you're now the victim of the Safety Act. The Chicago Fire Department is a victim of the Safety Act. Are you going to talk about it? Because if not now, when? Don't you want to try and end this? Because he would be alive. He was out on pretrial release because of the Safety Act.
Now, look, it was much more important. He didn't want to do anything. It's much more important that they go to Springfield and they try and increase their pension, which is what they do. That's what they talk about, or demand minimum manning. But to demand actually that they can operate in as safe environment as ever, no, it's not a priority to them, not one bit, because they don't put their political power behind those types of reforms that we need. So this is what you get. This is what you get.
Got a text message, Jeannie and Amy, this is going to be a sad day. A 32-year-old firefighter dies after the man was on pretrial felony, and this 18-year-old student was killed by an illegal that should never have been here in the first place. How and when is this going to end?
It won't end until the voters wake up.
Yep.
It's bottom line. And I'm kind of tired of people saying, well, you never told me this was happening. Does anybody pay attention? Does anybody read anything other than the legacy media where you've got, you know, headlines saying wrong place, wrong time from the Sun-Times to explain away the fact that a Loyola student was murdered in cold blood by an illegal alien? Why is that not the headline?
And it's Block Club today is not even covering it. They said, why isn't police investigating an ICE officer who killed a Chicago man? That's their headline today. So they're completely ignoring the story. The Chicago Tribune, Jeannie called him a Rogers Park man. This illegal who stole, he was out on pretrial release too after he was arrested for stealing. He never showed up for his court appearance. So you have the sanctuary state that let him into this country and Joe Biden, and then gets released on the Safety Act. Well, he's like a twofer.
Well, somebody who knows about being ignored by the political class after their child was killed by an illegal alien is Joe Abraham, and he joins us now on The Real Story. Joe, thanks so much for being with us.
No, thanks for having me.
So your sentiments at this point?
Look, this is something I've been talking at least a year about, right? That this is going to happen again. These Illinois policies have got to change, and what they're going to do to this poor woman and their family is they'll have some words here and there. They'll have a little bit of, and then they're going to erase her, right? As if she doesn't even exist, just like they did with Katie. I know exactly where these people feel. I know what they're thinking really over the next month, over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months. Right now, there's family and friends around them. Give it a little bit of time. They're going to wind up being by themselves, alone, hoping Illinois' judicial system is on their side. And really, let's face it, it's not on their side. I'd rather have AI instead of the judges we have today, for example. I'd rather have AI than our legislatures, which would have more sense than what they're doing right now.
Well, the DHS says they released a statement saying Sheridan Gorman had her whole life ahead of her before this cold-blooded murder. We're calling on Governor Pritzker and Chicago's sanctuary politicians to commit to not releasing this criminal illegal alien from jail back into American neighborhoods. So, but he's being held without bond. But still, the fact that DHS has to come out and ask Governor Pritzker not to release him on pretrial release is pretty sickening.
Can you imagine where we are at, not only as a state but as a nation? Can you even imagine where we've gone to, how far we've come? It's so odd to me that this is where everyone's comfortable with. Because let's face it, the Governor Pritzkers of the world, number one, don't care about the citizens. Number two, they have this built into their equation when they allowed hundreds of thousands of unvetted, unhealth checked. My understanding is this person has tuberculosis, he's in quarantine. The guy who killed Katie had HIV in our community. They don't care about these people. All they care about are for some reason, numbers in this state, unvetted, unhealth checked. That's what they care about. They will do everything they can to ignore it or contextualize it, right? Oh, it's a one-off. Oh, it's this is an individual thing. You can't hold community. No one's holding communities hostage around, this group of people. They're not indicting that. They're indicting the system, the process. Not everything should work as a bum rush to the state and you get a free-for-all. It's just not the way it works, unless you're in Illinois.
Well, I mean, so you're set to testify again in Congress, aren't you, this week?
Yes, I'm supposed to be testifying at the Senate Judiciary. But
do you imagine that this will come up?
Bring it up.
I mean, certainly, I'd imagine they'll be talking about a lot of different cases, like Katie's or this poor young woman and her family. But it's, the thing here is, they're going to say, look, she's going to get justice. Hey, Katie got justice. They incarcerated her killer. You have justice. The point is, we will never have justice. Does no one understand this? Is there no consideration for the victims that he's going to sit in jail for a couple of decades, if we're lucky, if Illinois even does that? And I'm supposed to be satisfied that I received justice? No. Justice is you do your job on the front end and make sure the people who are here are supposed to be here and are here for the right reasons, like my immigrant parents. But to say now on the back end, oh, by the way, you have your justice. I will never have justice. My daughter's in the grave and I have a life sentence. So you tell me where the justice is. There is none. And they don't care about this. They don't care about Illinois. Wait for another, God forbid, another tragedy like this to befall a Illinois citizen. Your state will turn its back on you so quickly, whether you support the policies or not. You will be invisible and you will be erased.
So, Joe, when you saw Governor Pritzker last and Jan Schakowsky, I know they didn't even come up to you and offer their condolences.
No, they didn't even look in my direction. I couldn't believe it. I was so naive, honestly. I said, here are Jan Schakowsky's my congresswoman. Can you imagine? She's got Daniel Biss she put into her seat. And then Governor Pritzker, this is my governor. I'm a lifelong Illinoisan. I'm sure I'm going to go down there. They're going to have some conversations with me. They're going to talk to me about the policies that helped create this tragedy. Not one of them, Chewy Garcia, Jan Schakowsky, Pritzker, no one on the den, no one spent 2 seconds looking in our direction.
Well, in the case of Sheridan Gorman, Loyola University, where the murder occurred, is representative by Kelly Cassidy. And so things could get much worse if Kelly Cassidy's bill passes, because she wants to stop facial recognition from helping to solve crimes, some of Chicago's most heinous crimes. She has a bill, and CWB Chicago wrote about it too. She wants to strip law enforcement of a tool that has helped detectives solve murders, robberies, kidnappings, and sexual assaults, including some of the most violent crimes to hit the CTA in recent years. Facial recognition. She wants to get rid of it. Is she going to have, and apparently facial recognition, these surveillance cameras are what helped solve the crime to this point and find the killer of Sheridan Gorman, the alleged killer. But you can't make it up, right?
Look,
Joe?
No, you can't make this up. And it's amazing to me that we allow, as citizens of Illinois, these radical, extreme people to come up with these ridiculous policies, and then they double down after it's shown it causes more harm than good. So there is a balance. I'm not saying there's not a balance to things, but why do we always have to be extreme? Why do we always have to be radical with no guardrails, no safeguards, no common sense, no thought of how this is going to handle this? But the thing is, Jeannie and Amy, they don't care about the victims. They don't care. It's as if they love the more victims they create, the better it is. It's so odd to me. It's so odd that we as a state, because we are not a one-party state. I don't know how we got here, but people like this are not serious. They're silly. They're power-hungry, and they're just doing what they're told. Got to be from a national perspective. I don't think this is Illinois, and they're representing Illinois. I just don't think that's true.
Are you going to be reaching out to Sheridan Gorman's family?
Oh, I've been in those shoes. I think they need time to process. I think they need time with family and friends. I would certainly, if they ever wanted to reach out to help them navigate this most horrendous journey we're on, this dark wilderness we're wandering through without Katie. I get the sense, I know what's going to keep them up at night every day. I know how things will not improve in time. But I would certainly be open to helping them in any way with our experience and our experience dealing with Illinois judicial system. But, I certainly would not interject myself in their tragedy. If they need help, I would absolutely be here to help them.
So a couple text messages. Wasn't the alleged shooter masked? Well, yes, he was masked, but it doesn't matter. They can follow a person through surveillance cameras, and he must have unmasked at some point and figured it out.
Yeah, before he went back to where he was living, he took his mask off.
Right, so that's how they figure that out.
Yeah, and again, I don't know why citizens want to contextualize some of these tragedies. It makes no sense to me. I get the same thing. I get people contextualizing all the time with me and my daughter, Katie.
What do they say?
Again, well, they'll say well, look, citizens create more crime, or, drunk drivers kill people every day. Who are you to say Katie's so special that we've got to have? And it's these type of things, and I don't understand it. Are you so tied to your ideology? Is that truly your North Star, that you cannot see or have consideration for things that are clearly there to be fixed? The system failed everybody, not just Katie. They failed Julio Cucabol, who's in prison right now. They failed him because he had HIV. They didn't help him there. He couldn't speak the language. They didn't help him there. He had no job training. They didn't help him there. He had no formal education. Illinois didn't help him there. So don't tell me they care about these people. They're our neighbors, and they're looking for the Illinois does not care for either side. They're only in it for the power. They're in it for the game. You think Governor Pritzker is happy being governor of Illinois? He thinks he's going to be the president and other things. I don't know, maybe Pope too. I have no idea, but he's not happy hanging around Illinois. I'll promise you that.
Well, he's in San Francisco today, and I mentioned this earlier, with Hillary Clinton at a common sense summit for kids and families. You got to be kidding. And he hasn't commented at all. He has not commented at all. And I think that this should end his presidential aspirations like Willie Horton did to Dukakis, because he ignored you, and now he's ignoring Sheridan Gorman. I don't think it's going to work.
Yes. And can you imagine? He's a common sense. I can't even believe it. Anyway, it's again, if you look at someone like J.B. Pritzker, I sent him a simple letter, not a political, not an ideology-laden letter, simple 11 questions. Please, Governor, help me understand why my daughter was killed in the streets of Urbana, Illinois, at the University of Illinois campus. Help me understand this. Simple questions, completely ignored. Not even any response in any way. And these are simple questions. For example, like the Kukabol in court even said he's illiterate. He speaks a Kaichi Mayan mountainous region from Guatemala. How did he come here, and what support? How did he get a driver's license, for example? That's one simple question. Hey, why was he in that streets? Why was he driving? He can't read or write, doesn't know English, doesn't know Spanish. What's he doing on the roads? Simple questions like that.
Yeah, no, the alleged killer. The alleged killer of Gorman. I mean, he's been here for 3 years. What did all these NGOs do that are getting millions of tax dollars to, assimilate illegals into society? What did they do for him? I don't get it.
Exactly. Just like Kukabol. How did you help him with his HIV disease? Did you help him, or you just let him, fend for himself? Then you send him out to roam around Illinois. He was in Cook County. He's down in Champaign County. He's all over the place. He's got a disease. He doesn't know how to handle himself in the community clearly. And you gave him no support. You just threw him out there aimlessly. It doesn't make any sense. These people, when they say our neighbors and I'm going to stand by, they don't care about, don't get fooled. It's so frustrating to watch. And, when you have to bury a child, your perspective changes very quickly. And I think most people don't understand that. Most people don't give that any consideration. And that's a very sad thing. There should be a little bit more empathy for the victims. And there is a balance, and it doesn't have to be so extreme like we constantly see in this state and from our governor. And by the way, where's our attorney general in all this? I haven't heard a word from this guy.
No. Hey, Joe, we got to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for speaking up and continuing to speak out about this issue and joining us on The Real Story to share with us on this after another tragic, preventable, useless death by an illegal immigrant. So we really appreciate what you do.
No, thank you guys. And keep it up. I just hope one day the state understands the real policies that are happening and decide to shift a different direction.
All right. Thanks, Joe. We appreciate it. We'll take your phone calls coming up next. 312-642-5600. You're listening to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
This is the show that the Chicago Press Corps and the Democrats in Springfield don't want you to hear. It's The Real Story on AM 560, The Answer.
Let me ask you something. Does your garage floor look bad? Covered in salt, cracked, or stained from the winter's brutal blast? Well, I've got a fix for you so you can start enjoying your garage this spring. Contact my good friends at Level 10 Coatings. Level 10 brought my garage floor from dirty and gross to showroom, shiny new in just one day. Level 10 Coatings can do the same for you. A quick and easy fix, permanent durable solution. Guaranteed to never chip or peel. Get it done now so you can enjoy your garage this spring and summer. Schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, for $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com. Level10coatings.com or call 855-510-2628. Again, that's 855-510-2628. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
If you'd like a smartphone that's really smart, download the OnePlace.com app, the app that will inspire your faith daily and provide answers to the biggest questions of all. OnePlace lets you download your favorite pastor's programs and listen even offline or in airplane mode with easy connections to your Bluetooth speaker or dashboard. To download your free OnePlace app, visit the iTunes App Store or the Google Play Store for your Android device and search for OnePlace. That's OnePlace.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, 312-642-5600. The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. I have such a heavy heart. Every time we talk to Joe, it's just sickening because it's so preventable. And J.B. Pritzker, again, don't forget that it's Safety Act's also responsible for firefighter Altman's death. But yet he traveled to Minneapolis in January, just a few months ago, and you mentioned it earlier, to lay flowers and gives his respects to Renee Good and Alex Preddy.
He's just such a despicable guy. He and Brandon Johnson. Okay, let's go to the phones quick.
Yes.
Let's go to Ignacio in Spring Grove. You're on The Real Story with Jeannie and Amy.
Well, if that doesn't get you mad enough, a liberal station, I'm in a rental car, so I was trying to find my stations. A liberal station here in town made a comment that the injustices against the illegals, because they're better citizens, basically, outweighs these quote-unquote exceptions. Talking about the murder.
Oh, my God. You can't make it up. Who are these people?
They're indoctrinated. They're sick.
Well, I don't know. Do you agree with me, though? At the root cause of it are the voters voting these politicians into office. That's the root cause.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though. The problem is that while we have a 50-50 split, hopefully it's not that bad, but 50-50 split in the country, we're going two different directions. I don't see a political solution. I don't see liberals or leftists wanting to change things. This is the world they like.
Yeah. Until it bites them in the butt. But it never will. They're insulated, I guess, from their own terrible ideas. Okay, how about thanks a lot for the call. I appreciate that, Ignacio. Let's go to Bill in Hinsdale.
Hey, Bill. Show. You guys are awesome. We need to get rid of this Maria Hadden fight today. That woman is disgusting for the comments she made. I mean, what a despicable human being. What am I missing about that? A little 18-year-old girl is enjoying a Saturday night in college with no drugs. If she had a gun and the other guy had a gun, then it's understandable. But you know what? Here's a poor little kid just taking in a sight. Are you kidding me? This woman Hadden, get her out of town today.
Well, that's the alderman.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The Sun Times went with this story saying, no, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And her family, Sheridan's family, snapped back with a statement saying, no, she's doing exactly what she should be doing as a college student, enjoying the city of Chicago, enjoying the lakefront and being with her friends. So good for them. And hopefully they'll come out and try and get these sanctuary states, cities, and counties to change.
So what I'm sorry, is the Loyola Lakefront a no-go zone for people?
Yeah.
Is that what it is now?
Exactly.
Do we have no-go zones? Oh, no, that's, we just got to let the criminals do what the criminals are going to do. That's what we do in a free society. No, they get their areas and, just don't go there. What the hell is wrong with people?
Disgusting. It really is. And you know what? Until we get people who, how do they even put this woman in front of a camera in her car? Saying something that disgusting is beyond me. I am beyond irate.
I am too. Hey, Ron on the South Side, we'll have to catch you tomorrow, maybe call in. We appreciate everybody today, though, listening in and sharing our content.
Yep, and thank you so much for joining us. And we're back here tomorrow, again, from 11 to noon. The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're nearing retirement, stop what you're doing and listen, because what's unfolding right now could hit your 401k or IRA harder than anything we've seen in years. Military escalation across the Middle East, a tariff war spilling into the courts, the U.S. dollar facing pressure that historically signals one thing: a flight to safety. Smart money has been moving into gold and silver, and it's not slowing down. Call Advantage Gold right now at 800-900-8000 and get your free gold investment kit, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's eye-opening book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Thousands of Americans have already rolled over a portion of their retirement savings into physical gold and silver, completely tax and penalty-free through Advantage Gold. The next news cycle